just mic'd up with Mikey Mahtook. Got the boys in. I got Lloyd. We got J Mitch. We got Jackie Boyd.
He tried to jump up and he might have knocked it in.
Good time. Let's go. What a start to the Monday. I mean, I'm from Lafayette. My boys will come in and say,
oh, God. So me and Joe on the ground. I got Joe in the headlock. And he's sitting there. He's punching me in the stomach. Like, punching me.
Here, is everyone sitting around? Who here thinks Ochenko can practice today after having 5 full beers? And he goes, Chad Jones, right? Chad Jones. 6 minutes. For 7 minutes, right? Chad's like, no, man, I don't think Ochenko can practice today. And I was like, I look back and I'm like, Jesus Christ. I saw you there. You were more fucked up than me.
On the spirit plane had some issues, I think. She was sleep farting.
you heard her or you just thought it was her?
I sat right next to her. I smelled it.
Whoa. What was that?
Time for
Good
the
show.
Now, when you do go to spring training, are you going to bring your chinchilla and your turtle? My dad tell you about it?
The SEC is, God, they hate fat people. I mean, I get crushed for that. You know what I mean? It's like, come on, man.
Hey, just the South, bro. You got a bunch of food down here. Like they should.
Look at Lloyd.
You know what, Lloyd?
You're looking for a recruiting coordinator, coach. I'm here.
He's like, I'll piss my pants right now.
No way.
We're wearing gray pants, long gray pants. He goes, I'll piss my pants right now.
Oh, hello. Welcome back to Mik'd Up. Today is Monday, January 13th. Got a big show for you today. It is finally becoming the downslope, big-time downslope, fall-off of football. Obviously, NFL football is going on right now. You have the playoffs. You had some not-so-good games yesterday, and then the finale was obviously a doink to win it. Doink banked it in to win the game for the Washington Commanders. Jaden Daniels, big win in his first playoff game. Second quarterback in the history of NFL to have 0 punts and zero turnovers in a playoff game. Him and Peyton Manning.
That good?
That's pretty good. Him and Peyton Manning, the sheriff. Two good people to have in the same thing. He obviously plays extremely well, makes some big plays when he has to. 4th and 5, touchdown to Scary Terry. A lot of really good positive things. Obviously, that ended the game. That ended the round of games yesterday. You have the Rams versus the Vikings tonight to finish Wild Card Weekend. Super Wild Card Weekend. College football is really off all week for the most part, and then next Monday, national championship. So not as many games going on, which means baseball season is right around the corner. LSU baseball, very, very highly regarded going into the season. I think everybody expected that with the recruiting class, the transfer portal guys they got, the returners they have coming to their team. It's gonna be a baseball heavy show. I know everybody's been waiting for us to get into the baseball conversation.
Here it is.
Here it is. This is the start of it. Obviously, we're gonna preview the season. What we're excited. These are early storylines. Obviously, we're gonna continue to get to know the players. The longer they are here, now that they're back in school, we're hoping to get some players here on the show. Another special announcement. I guess I probably shouldn't announce it. We'll have throughout the course of the season, since Jared is now virtually calling in via the internet and via Houston, Texas, he'll be like the AJ Hawk of the show, except he'll be here for the whole show. And so now we need to add his empty seat. So we're going to have former baseball players, some that are very prominent, some that are new, some that are old, fill in through the course of the baseball season and be part of the show, which we're very, obviously very, very excited about. But LSU baseball, a lot to talk about, a lot of incoming guys to talk about. SEC as a whole, 9 of the SEC teams have been ranked in the top 20 preseason, top 25. I know it's preseason ranking, anything can happen, but it goes to show you how deep and how strong the conference is supposed to be. A little bit of housekeeping in the LSU football department. They land a commitment from the number 2 overall safety in the transfer portal in Tamarcus Cooley. Not Jamarcus, Tamarcus Cooley. Transfer from NC State. I think he had 3 interceptions this past year, 6 passes deflected. We didn't have a lot of interceptions last year as a team. Mm-hmm. Obviously, this guy's got a lot of experience in the back end of the secondary and was highly rated in the portal. So, big pickup. Checks the box off of another need. They're not done, I would imagine. There's probably going to be maybe 1 or 2 more that end up committing or signing to LSU. They also got the tight end from Texas A&M to add to that tight end room. So it feels like they're done there. Maybe not another offensive lineman, but that's the last little bit of housekeeping for football. LSU first pitch banquet is Thursday. We will be there as a show. Lloyd in his maroon. Burgundy. His burgundy suit.
Still got it.
Looks good. Are you going to wear it? You're going to bring it out?
Yeah, it depends.
I think you should bring it out. It's going to look good. It looks good on you.
No. Switch it up, Lloyd. Let them know you're versatile.
Agile. You know what you should do? 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 I think you should go high turtleneck. You know, that's like back in style. They wear the high turtlenecks with the maroon.
Oh, I could do that little.
In the chain?
Yes.
In the little chain, I think that's the move.
A little Joe Burrow?
Yeah, I think that's the move.
No.
I could do
Dwayne The Rock Johnson?
Yeah.
With the fanny pack?
A little off-white with the maroon.
Yeah, I think that's the move. Obviously, I'll be in a nice little sport coat. And we'll be there from
Now the tuxedo seems
the
a little fucked up.
Yeah. Tuxedo looks a little fucked up now. We'll be there. The VIP room opens up at 6. We'll be 6 to 7. The show probably will start earlier than that, probably around 5:45 or so. But we'll be at the first pitch banquet on Thursday, and then obviously we have our show on Friday. But let's get to this conversation. Obviously, those are the Heineken headlines. How was y'all's weekend, Jay? How was your weekend out there in Houston? Was this your first full weekend? No, second full weekend in Houston, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think maybe second, I believe.
First one after you've really finally got situated.
Yeah. Like I did. I spent a lot of like kind of the day getting some of these damn boxes out of here because we had a lot of stuff going on in here. Got a chance to go to dinner Saturday night with RJ Jackson. Obviously, y'all remember him well. My boy, my dog. Got to go to dinner with him not Friday night, Saturday night. So that was cool. But yeah, it was cool, man. Just watched a lot of football this weekend. You know what time it is. We already talked about this. You hope for cold weather, sickness, all that nonsense right now because all you really want to do is have a very sane excuse to be sitting on your damn couch and watching football. So I kind of tried to use a little bit of that. So my wife is a huge Steelers fan, and we went to dinner Saturday night, and she was out.
Yeah,
on the game
let me ask you that.
halftime.
Let me ask you.
Oh, she was salty as hell.
Let me ask you that. What is her feeling on this whole deal? Because everybody wants Tomlin out.
Everybody wants Tomlin out. I kind of think she's somewhere right in the middle. But she's been a huge proponent of Tomlin the whole time anyway.
Right.
But I don't know, man. I don't really think they're gonna move. But I don't really understand the whole thought process. I guess if we really kind of get into that subject a little bit. I don't understand the whole thought process of thinking, like, even if they go win this one playoff game, let's just say they win the one playoff game and then they get into the divisional round. Did anybody really look at that roster and say, I think they got a chance to win it? Just look at the roster and say that.
No.
Like, I think they got a chance to win it all. So, like, even if they go win that game and all they want to talk about is, just getting into the playoffs is not enough, well, then at that point, I would imagine, too, like, just winning a divisional game isn't a wild card game isn't enough either.
Listen, you
so
got
it's like, what are we talking about? Like, you got to be able to give that man the Jimmies and the Joes if you really expect him to be able to get all the way and hold the cup at the end. I just don't understand that.
You want championships. Obviously, one win's not going to do anything. They're talking about, and no, we're not an NFL show. We're going to talk a little bit about it because Mo probably is going to want to hear about this. But instead of firing him, they obviously would trade him. It'd be one of those coaches that they would trade.
He has a no trade clause.
Does he?
But he has no trade clause.
I didn't know that.
If there's a trade that's going to happen, it's because he's saying, hey, yo, I'm good. Time to go.
Yeah, well,
he's got no trade clause.
There's a lot of teams out there that are attractive potentially to have them and could fix their culture. Obviously, he's not coming to New Orleans, but that would be exhibit A, right? Where hey, we need someone in to change the culture and make it a little bit more professional. Now they're talking about Mike McCarthy showing up in New Orleans and being the head coach there, and that sounds not cool, not fun. Not exciting. It's not something that's gonna be like, hey, we stink, but at least we have this boost of energy because of the young guy that we just hired. Now you're gonna hire Mike McCarthy, who couldn't do it in Dallas and did it in Green Bay, but then got outed in Green Bay. Dallas didn't do really well, especially make the playoffs. Great regular season coach.
Got jerked around by
Jerry Jones. Has won a Super Bowl though, so gotta give him that. But yeah, so there's a lot of options out there. We'll see.
Rizzy's getting an interview on Thursday.
Where, in Dallas?
In New Orleans.
I thought he had his interview, no? Mm-mm. He had his interview in New York, the Jets. The Jets have interviewed 15 coaches.
Yeah, Mike Greenberg's heading the whole thing up.
It's unbelievable. Hey, you want a job interview? Just come here.
Put on the resume.
Why not? The more people, the better. Yeah. It'll give us an opportunity to really vet
ideas over here.
Hey, you get mad because we don't vet? We're vetting.
We're
vetting as much as we can. Lloyd, how was your weekend?
Great. Good weekend back in A-Town.
A-Town.
Yeah.
Did you? I was thinking about you. Did you drive, knowing you drove Monday morning?
Yes, drove this morning.
You drove this morning. This is Monday. So you drove this morning straight to the show. New show.
New
ownership of the show.
Yeah, a whole lot of moving pieces going around.
Yeah, Lloyd, you're ready for that. Are you ready for that move?
Oh, I don't think anything changes. Everybody's been trying to giving me all advice and oh, this is huge for you, and I was like, I haven't thought anything about it.
No, it's good. Just keep doing what you're doing. That's
the blessing of being almost borderline.
I think it's gonna be good for our show.
Super low IQ. It helps in these moments.
But you don't have super low IQ, so that's not true.
No feel.
Yeah. Well, you're saying other people.
No, me.
Oh no, you don't have super low.
Yeah, you just don't worry about it if you don't worry about it.
No, you got it. You figured it out. You know what you're doing. You've gotten to this point so far. I think it's gonna be great for our show. I think you're gonna be a little bit more excited, a little bit more motivated, a little bit more brain power because of all the things that you're gonna have to do for the other show in the morning. But yeah, I assumed you had to drive. You were driving in the morning. That's your move. It rained all day on Sunday, so that was actually an even better decision by you.
Yeah.
I figured once it was raining, I was like, you ain't leaving. Ain't no way you're leaving with all that rain. Miserable rain.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt.
No, but didn't even. Rub's big on the DoorDash, which I'm not a proponent of, but they just bring it straight to you.
I love DoorDash.
Made friends with the DoorDasher.
So you're a DoorDash man. This is a great start to the show. Glad energy. You're a DoorDash greeter.
Yeah, she won't.
Jay, are you a DoorDash?
That's just weird.
Yeah, me too. That's what I thought.
Leave it at the door.
Listen,
leave it at the door.
I always have to send him a text.
Instructions and everything.
Exactly.
Just leave it at the door.
Just leave it at the door. I don't want to have any exchange.
You don't want any
with
communication.
I don't want any type of hey, thank you. I know I'm fucking lazy. You're judging my ass for not getting up out of here to go there. I appreciate you.
Yeah.
I don't want to see that. Just, hey,
Look,
drop it on the front step.
At the front door. I just get on the mic on the ring and I'm like, hey, appreciate you.
Yeah, drop it right there. You good?
No, the worst.
Can you slide it through the mailbox?
The worst is Instacart because it's groceries. So they don't want to leave it there because they don't want it to go bad. And I'm like, no. Leave it there.
Leave it. I see.
Kobe's barking at him for 15 minutes straight because they're just sitting there. I'm like, just leave it at the door.
So you won't go help them unload the car?
No, they put it right by the door.
Yeah, but what if it's like a big...
I usually don't order if I'm getting Instacart, it's not a huge...
2 bags?
Yeah, 2, 3, 4 bags max. It's not like a huge grocery
'cause
order. That'd
that-
be fucked up.
Because I saw this when I went to the Walmart at Alexandria. They have people that'll load up your cars, like
That's
for
like-
you.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
these people weren't old, and they just sat in the car where this guy had probably 5 of those big like boxes,
Yeah, I
and he
couldn't
was
do
just,
that.
and I was like,
I couldn't do
they
that.
were really just sitting in their fucking car watching this guy do this. Like,
Yeah.
get out and help him. Like,
Yeah,
at
no.
he brought it to your car. You could, the least you could do is help a little
Yeah, no,
bit.
I couldn't do that.
But
I
the,
couldn't do that.
the dasher
that's a
got
little much.
like knocked a couple times. Like I guess he wanted somebody to answer the door because sometimes they leave it. And
Yeah.
then he's like, I got the drinks, and she's on the second floor. I was like, oh, bro, I'll walk down and we'll walk together.
Oh, nice.
So I didn't want to make him come
Oh,
back
looks
up the
okay.
stairs.
Good Samaritan.
And so
Yeah,
we
yeah.
just had a good chat about it. He's like, we got Outback. He's like, Outback's fire. And I was like, dude, great
There
day
you go.
for it. So,
Hey, a lot of times.
But you're a
times.
greeter though. Like you like greeted him anyway, even if he had one single bag.
oh, for sure.
Yeah, no.
Rebecca hates
God.
it.
A lot of times,
But people person.
Oh my
I'll get
God.
the DoorDash, and I'll get it, and I'm like, damn, this motherfucker just lit up a blunt in his car,
Yeah, hell yeah.
and the whole food smells like weed.
That's
I
when
was
you
like-
go to the
and look,
car.
that's a very dangerous move if you're a DoorDasher, because what if you get hungry and you got all that food in your car, you know? But also,
Just looking at you looking at it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Hey, I'll trade you. Yeah, I'll trade you 2 hits.
Also,
for some chips.
DoorDash. What if you have a DoorDash and they cancel it? That'd be a great move. Then
Well,
you get to keep
that's
it.
what happens. They get
They
you
get to
smoke a
keep
little
the
weed and
cancel-
then they just take it.
Hope you cancel.
Where are you? Like,
Oh, sorry.
Cause great
Here-
order.
here's your refund.
My bad.
Yeah, great, dude.
Yeah, you
Hey,
crushed the order.
fire orders. Can you just send me that again, so I remember what to order
Save the
next time?
receipt.
Oh, all right. Let's get to the baseball conversation. Obviously, everybody's excited for baseball season, us included. Baseball feels like it's our time to shine. We're back in the limelight, even though we do know what we're talking about on the football side. We hit a lot of the storylines throughout the course of this year. I think baseball season, the storylines so far have been very well documented. Obviously, you go look at D1 baseball has all these rankings coming into the preseason. Obviously, top 25 preseason ranking is one of them. They have top 10 or top 100 of your juniors in college and then top 100 of your sophomores list. LSU lands 5 on the top 100 juniors list, not including
Big omission.
big omission, literally and figuratively.
A bear
Big,
of an omission.
A bear of an omission. Bear Jones not in the top 100 of juniors returning or currently in college. Very head scratching decision. Hopefully more motivation to him for him to hit a 30 burger this year and do the same things he was doing last year. But LSU lands 5 on that list, 5 in the top 100 sophomores list, which is 10 total guys on the team right now in 2 classes. Plus they have the number 1 freshman class in the country, or I guess D1 baseball describes it as number 1 impact freshman class in the country, which in my mind is the number 1 recruiting class in the country, because if you have the number 1 impact class in the country, that means you recruited really good, and so that to me goes hand in hand. It feels like it's an odd way to title those types of rankings, but LSU, you got 3 of those that have landed as big impact freshmen. It's the 3 freshmen that we've talked about. William Schmidt, obviously pitcher from Catholic High. Fastball's up to 98, has a banger of a breaking ball, good size, wants to be here, which I think is one of those intangible characteristics that you can't really measure. Someone who really wants to play for LSU and has dreamed about playing for LSU and has the talent. I think that's a good mix. You have Derek Curiel, outfielder, who we've heard a ton about, doesn't strike out, ton of contact, plays really good defense. Feels like he's going to kind of force his way into the starting rotation or starting lineup, specifically in center field. Where does that put Jake Brown? Where does that put Ashton Larson? Where does that put Pearson? Where does that put Fry? You know, we got a lot of talented guys. Sandfield. We got a lot of guys out there that had the opportunity to play. This freshman seems like he's impressing. He's going to get some at-bats. See what happens when he does that. And then Aaron Beatty is the 3rd freshman that they have talked about, who obviously is behind the plate and in a position of need for LSU. So those guys we've talked about a lot, but LSU's got a lot of hype. How are y'all feeling about it? What do y'all think about LSU?
Dude, I look at this roster and there's a ton of depth. I think if nothing else, the last 2 years, Jay has kind of been able to almost teach himself by fire. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say he's never had depth. He's never had good players. He's never had good rosters before. But being able to put these kind of rosters together at a school, in a conference like this, what he's done in the past couple of years, he's got experience in terms of, hey, I got all of these pieces, but I need to figure out how to make these pieces work. And I think by putting these pieces together and what he's going through in the past, it'll give him the chance to kind of put this stuff together a little bit quicker and let this thing gel a little bit quicker. And you're going to need it because we talked about the back end of the schedule off air before we even started this thing, and it's brutal. So they're going to need to be able to find that rhythm a little bit earlier to get themselves into the back end of the season where those guys are kind of clicking. They know their roles, they know what they're expected to do, and they're going through pretty much the gauntlet of that schedule getting into the postseason. Well, I'm expecting a big year from them, honestly, because when you have that kind of depth and that kind of talent, if you're able to coach it right, which we know Jay can, if you're able to create a culture, which we know Jay can, the only thing that you should be able to do is find success some kind of way. So I'm expecting a big year out of it.
Yeah, and I think that, we talked about because the schedule was so brutal in the back end, which we're going to get into, LSU can't afford to do what they did last year and start off slow and be able to have to pick it up in the back half. Now, last year the schedule was kind of flipped. It was very hard beginning of the season, and it lightened up in the back end. That's whenever they were kind of getting their run and they started playing good baseball. Maybe it's going to be better this year. You're going to have some time to be able to get that experience. Obviously, it's the SEC, so these guys are good. These teams are good, all of them. But it's going to give you some opportunity to go out there and maybe not have to play perfect to beat the number 2 or number 1 team in the country or number 7 team in the country like you're going to have to at the back end of the season. A lot of guys on this team that have an opportunity to get at bats and be in the lineup. And so it's going to give Jay an opportunity to kind of mix and match early on. I think what I saw interesting, Lloyd, to give you credit, because you've been screaming for this since last year, Stephen Milam looks like he's probably going to be the starting shortstop for LSU. Everybody had asked about it last year because how good his glove was and how quick his hands were. And, man, he just looks like he can field like a shortstop. But you had Braswell who had the experience, and he was there. And you had that double play combination, and Milam was playing well. You didn't really want to mess with that. Now Milam goes into his sophomore year as one of the top 100 sophomores. He's one of the top 5, one of the 5 that we have. And Jay has been playing. If you've been watching any of the scrimmages and you've been going to any of the scrimmages, Jay has been playing him at short. And they've been playing Dickinson at second base, is where he played at Utah Valley. I think that's where he's transferred from. That's where he's played his career there. So you're going to have them in the double play combination, and that would obviously move Braswell to third base, which I think we all kind of anticipated. I don't think any of us thought Braswell was probably going to be the starting shortstop based off of what we have heard from some of the guys and just from watching. Thought it maybe fit better at third base, which he will start the season there. Now, obviously, it's a talented lineup. It's a talented freshman crop. There's talented transfers, so somebody going to push for some playing time there. But thought that was very interesting. So kudos to you, Lloyd. You called it. Did you call Jay and tell him, like, hey, this is what you need to do?
Yeah, I've been pushing for it. Jay, during Thanksgiving.
Shoot him texts?
Yeah, it was like, over the dinner table, we had a couple conversations. I don't know, as a coach, I don't know if you've thought about this. I know
you with a glass of orange juice.
Yeah, sometimes you're a little too close to the program.
Yeah.
And, these are things that maybe, from the outside looking in, that maybe you should make a switch or two. And he was like, you know what, I'll give it a shot. But between Milam maybe moving to short, and I think Dickinson will also get some run at shortstop, too, from the limited amount of scrimmages we've seen. Like, you've seen Dickinson on the left side, whether it be third base or short. Like, I think that's still going to be, and Jay, we talked about this a good bit last year, where it's almost they have an embarrassment of riches on the baseball team, and it took a while to figure out where to put everybody. Do you think that that's one of your major concerns coming into this year, of trying to figure out where kind of everybody fits?
Well, I think he learned. Go ahead, Jay. No, you go ahead.
No, I was about to say, that is, honestly, that's my health, and that is my biggest concern. But because of what they've been able to do depth-wise, and because of what he's had depth-wise the past 2 years, I think he's well-equipped right now to go into this year understanding, all right, how do I navigate this thing over this 56-game schedule? So if there's ever a year where you're like, boy, they have a lot of players, a lot of good players, how you going to get it done? I think this is the year where you expect him to be able to figure that out a little bit quicker than other years in the past, and I'm expecting him to kind of navigate that thing pretty smoothly this year.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. I think he learned his lesson last year.
Because he got tested when we brought it up.
Last year,
Yeah.
yeah, no doubt. And I think he knew
he was like, yeah, I know.
But I think part of that is because he had a rotation of guys that were supposed to be good, right? And they all kind of stayed at that average middling level. Nobody really separated themselves. Usually when you have a bunch of guys that can go out there and play, you'll have somebody get hot and kind of separate themselves and say, hey, okay, you've made the decision for us where you're going to be in there and you're going to get majority of the bats. Similar to what like Jake Brown did for that minute, similar to what Ashton Larson did, right? Once they kind of figured out, okay, they separate themselves, we're going to put you in. Now, the other side of that is, well, maybe just give them an opportunity to separate themselves and give them more than just a couple chances. And look, it's a fine line to navigate because it's, you have a bunch of guys that you feel like can do it. I think he's learned his lesson from it. And I think that you're going to see him give a lot of guys opportunities early on, but I think he's going to stick with a lineup until he has to make a change, right? Which hopefully is not, but he's going to give these guys a little bit longer of a leash. I think the other conversation.
Wait, before you switch the conversation too, I do want to say this because I do believe this. Remember, because of how much he did transferring here and because of how much he was able to do for that team last year, I do, and I just got to believe, too, that there's some sort of an opportunity for the other guy to do it. But don't be surprised. You're going to see Dickinson, and you're going to see both of those guys play short as well.
Yeah.
It's not going to be just Milam. Like, I would imagine if Milam's getting this much opportunity to play short in the fall or in the spring as the season's about to start, that means he probably thinks maybe our best lineup, maybe our best defensive lineup is with him there. But if for whatever reason it doesn't really pan out that way, those other guys are going to play there as well.
Right.
Just let that be known because you got to remember, this is their draft year again. This is their opportunity again. They didn't come here to play, quote unquote, play second fiddle if it's not really flowing like that. So
yeah.
You got to think about that as well.
Well, you're going to have, out staying on that shortstop position, you have some freshmen that have obviously played really well. We talked about Hogg in the fall, how he was kind of making waves. But another infielder's name that has been talked about and has shown some flashes is a freshman named Mikey Ryan. So, great name. Yeah. Great first name. It spells it wrong, but great first name. He may get some innings there. Obviously, may get some at-bats. That talent pool is real, and it's a good thing to have. And I think, with that, right, we talk about how many options and how much depth they have offensively and defensively. They have just as much on the mound, starting pitching-wise, right? Like, we know a lot of these guys they brought in from the bullpen, and some of these guys, obviously, they had a loss early in the summer or late in the summer with one of their pitchers, Sheeran, who was supposed to be one of the top guys. He tore his ACL, so he'll be out for the year. But you have probably 5 or 6 guys that you can start, right? So freshman, William Schmidt, obviously he's a guy they want to be able to get innings. I would imagine they're going to ease him in there unless he just comes back after the Christmas break and has an outrageous spring where, nobody is sniffing him. I would imagine he's probably going to get some innings in the midweek. But you have Chase Shores, who I think it's no debate that he's going to be the number one, right? Then you got Cade Anderson, who made strides at the end of last year, and by all accounts this fall has taken the next step, has developed 3 pitches, has controlled his breaking ball a lot more, has an electric fastball. So you'd imagine he's going to be in there. And then transfer Anthony Ayenson, who is very highly touted. He's one of those top 100 juniors as well. You would imagine those guys are going to get maybe the first look as a starter, but then you got Zach Cohen transfer from, I believe it was Wofford, who's there. So that's 4 or 5 including William Schmidt that you could look at as a starting option in the rotation. So there's a lot of decisions to be made that way too, but I think that's also a good thing. Yeah,
there's a lot of depth on the mound as well. We saw what we thought was going to be a lot of depth on the mound 2 years ago, and it played out to where a lot of those guys got hurt, so you never really got to see the depth. And guys were asked to step up earlier than what we were expecting. Guys were asked to step into different roles than what they were expecting off. So that kind of thing kind of threw it out. If you can get all these guys into the season healthy, and you can get all these guys through the season, majority healthy, I think you'll see something completely different where if it rolls out the way we think it's going to roll out, you're going to see a very effective and very good pitching squad and pitching rotation out of this club. And I'm looking forward to it because, like I said, this is one of those rosters where you look at it and you're like, man, this thing's deep. How do you manage it? How do you get these guys opportunities? And I think Jay is well equipped to figure that thing out and figure it out pretty quick this year.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but it would be the first time in Jay Johnson's tenure at LSU that he has a returning pitching coach, correct?
Yes.
Nate Yesty coming back for his second year.
Yep.
I think that'll bear weight for having some of these guys come back.
No doubt.
And then having some sense of routine with having a pitching coach that's actually here for a second year as opposed to being hired to be a head coach somewhere.
Yeah, I felt like last year with some of the injuries, you only really had 4 potential options to start, right? Like the Sunday starter wasn't was a big problem for LSU. You obviously thought Thatcher Hurd was going to be a guy that you could count on. He had some flashes. He did not pitch the level that everybody had hoped he would pitch. So then you move him to the bullpen, try to fix his mentals, and then you throw Cade Anderson there a little bit, but not all the time. He still pitched in the midweek. You didn't really feel like you had another starter at that point. And so now it feels like you have options. So if someone does struggle a little bit, you have the ability to go and kind of fill that without having to worry about how we're going to eat up 9 innings.
Big swing and a miss on Will Helmers. Waited too long to play him.
Listen to me. Nobody, and it's a shame they lost because nobody's going to give that outing at the credit that it deserves. If they win that and they go to the Super Regional and they make it to Omaha and let's say they make a run, they're going to go back to that, right? And they're going to say,
highlight DVD.
They're going to say, this is what it's about, right? Like this guy hasn't pitched.
If they win that game and they make a run to Omaha, we might know him as like Chapel Hill Will at this point.
Chapel Hill
that
Will.
might be his nickname at this point. You might not know him as anything else.
Man, Will the thrill from Chapel Hill.
Goal. Wow. 5 2/3 a shutout ball. Came in the second.
Dominated.
He was nasty.
Dominated.
Hey, he was nasty in that game. Hey, you got to think about this too. There's another point about having this same pitching coach back. There's a little bit of a feel of having that continuity with the guys that were already there, coming in and knowing what to expect out of them to be able to hit the ground running this year, as opposed to the last 2 years. These guys are still getting to learn the pitching coach. The pitching coach still getting to learn them. He's still getting, that stuff kind of takes a little while to gel. So expect them to come out the gate a little bit better than what they have in the past years, in my opinion.
Yep. And look, you still got a lot of veteran guys in the
rotation
pitching mix. Not really the starting rotation, but out of the bullpen and in the mix. Obviously, Gavin Guidry, right? Who also, by all accounts, has kind of elevated his ability on the mound. Did a lot of work this offseason over the summer to get stronger, kind of create some, build some more velocity. We've heard he's been in the mid-90s throughout the course of the fall. Obviously, still with his really good breaking ball.
Fucking hammer.
He's going to be there, right? With that dog mentality, with the guy who's going to go out there and not be scared to get outs back in the back end of games. You have Cade Woods. We all forgot about him. He threw 1 inning last year. Transfer from Alabama. Obviously, came in here with the ability to get outs. He wasn't healthy last year. Seems like he's back healthy. Obviously, Chase Shore's in the starting rotation. Jaden Newt, that's a guy that everybody was high on, who also could maybe put him in the mix as a starter. Maybe they throw him out the bullpen, but that's a guy that they're very high on. He's been injury plagued since he started his career at LSU. And then sophomore left-hander DJ Primo, who got some big outs in the back end of the postseason. So got some veteran guys. You also have a nice mix of righties and lefties out the bullpen. So it's going to be feels like, and we've talked about this is probably Jay's most talented team he's had since he got to LSU, top to bottom, right? Yeah. Obviously, 2023 when you had Paul and you had Dylan, like
Trey Morgan,
like those are unbelievable, right? The starting 9 were really good there, but I think from top to bottom, from the first starter in the rotation to the last guy in the bullpen, from the number one guy in the lineup to the last guy on the bench, it feels like they have more guys that are able to be out there and contribute than they've ever had before. That could be an aggressive statement, but it feels that way.
No, I would definitely agree with that, man. And I think it's probably so hard for people to kind of understand or put a real. I don't know. It's probably so hard for people to understand exactly what you're saying simply because you're like, what? Wait, 2 years ago they had the number 1 and the number 2 draft pick on that team. What are you talking about? That team won a national championship. There's no way this could be real. I do think you're right on this. It may be hard to basically reciprocate that top end talent, but when you're looking top to bottom and looking at the health that they have, not what they were supposed to have, yeah, man, you could really make an argument that this may be his most talented team coming into the year.
No doubt. No doubt. Hey, wait, before we keep going the baseball conversation, did they come out with the ruling that there's going to be the revenue sharing thing? Like, is that official?
No, that's not until like March or April, isn't it?
I know that, but
There's like a date on that, right?
Yeah, I thought the same thing, but then I just saw a tweet from Ross Dellinger saying that teams starting July 1st, teams are going to have $20.5 million in revenue sharing.
I mean, he might just be hearing stuff. I mean, I don't think people have been talking about like a hard set date on this whole thing. And I would imagine no way because it's like a whole
That's what I thought.
They have to do.
Yeah, I'm seeing what you're seeing is 4 hours ago. 4 hours ago, schools have $20.5 million to share with their athletes starting July 1st. That spending cap will rise each year too. So the Carson Becks, the Allens, and Singletons decisions probably signal a new reality within the rev share era for underclassmen. We saw a degree of it in the NIL era too. So I'm thinking that it's a foregone conclusion at this point.
Yeah.
Where it feels like it's already done, but like you said, it hasn't been officially announced but it feels like this is going to pass.
Right, because
I
don't think he's dropping those
without
that certain tweet. Like it's like, hey, I'm certain this is happening. Not like maybe looks like potentially. He says it is happening, which is wild.
And it'll be interesting to see how that, because NIL isn't going anywhere.
No, he said you both can. The NIL is still going to be a thing. So yeah.
So the rich get richer,
no doubt.
And you could even say Notre Dame gets richer because of their independent status. They now have secured $20 million that they do not have to share with anybody else in their conference because they're not in one.
Right.
So all of those playoff bonuses go directly to Notre Dame.
Right, which is great I'm sure they can use that for NIL if they wanted to.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Those Catholic pockets are pretty deep.
Yeah.
Where do you think all those donations go on Saturday and Sunday?
That's right. I gave some on this Sunday.
Did you?
Sunday. Oh, yeah.
I used to take a little off the top.
$5, really.
Yeah.
My uncle.
Oh, my God.
My uncle used to like, he would give like, every so often, he would throw $100 in there. And so when I was young, I would take it and I was about to throw it in there, and I was like, "Can I have this?"
Yeah.
He goes,
"Sure."
Yeah, if you want, you just gotta tell God.
Yeah, it's between you and the big man.
And every time I would drop it in there, obviously, he never kept it. I always felt bad about it. He did a good job making me feel guilty.
Catholic guilt travels miles.
Oh yeah, it's hard. You can't get rid of it. All right, so let's get back to the baseball conversation, Jay. I forgot where we're at before I cut you off.
You cut me off.
Did I cut somebody off? Or did somebody finish their thought?
Maybe Lloyd.
Probably.
You didn't cut me off.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, he was just talking about the continuity with the pitching staff and everybody coming back. And because we did have some questions last year when it came to how they used Anderson in that midweek role, and you were looking for a Sunday guy, and we kept waiting for that to happen with the freshman, and it never really matriculated. But a question from the chat is, obviously losing Herring, who moves into his spot? Early prognosis.
So prognosis, I like that. So I'm gonna get it. Let me get it. So
Prognosticate.
I get his name. Prognosticators are talking about. Prognosticators are
Prognosticating.
Prognosticating. There is a transfer. Left-handed pitcher. I'm trying to get to his name so I don't mess it up. Who is primed to kind of fill that role that he was in. And I can't find his name right now. Why cannot? Connor Ware. So Connor Ware is a junior college guy. He's a guy that I think he's a left-handed pitcher.
Lefty, 6'4",
Yeah.
205.
So he's a guy that
Pearl River.
He's a guy that they believe they can extend, so he can come out and get some really big outs and extend the game, right? So let's say a starter struggles in the 4th or the 5th, and you need someone to come in and close the door in that inning, but then also get you into the 7th or the 8th. He is that guy. So very similar to what Griffin Herring was doing last year. Big lefty. You're going to have him, and then you also have, a bunch of other guys that we had mentioned. Cade Primo is a guy who they're gonna count on as a lefty out the pen. And I think there's 2 or 3 more that they have that they can throw out there.
And that was another part of the bullpen, I guess, equation, if you will. Is Guidry a starter now, or is that just hearsay for Matthew Kunkel?
I don't know. I think that
Obviously, the velo now plays.
yeah. Listen, you don't have to have the guy throw. If you're going to start, it's more about the pitches that you have than the velo that you have, right? Like, you don't need you to throw 98. I mean, it'd be great if you could do that, but if you can throw 92, 93 consistently and sit 92, 93, but then have 3 pitchers and be able to locate, that plays more than just straight velo.
Because as of the last 2 years, he's a one-pitch guy.
Yeah, breaking ball. But go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, Guidry as a starter is an interesting idea to me. I do think, especially over the course of the year, once you leave high school, it's a little bit different. But over the course of the year, even in a quote-unquote shortened season in terms of what pro ball does and in terms of what college does, he pitches with so much emotion and passion that I feel like he'd be better suited for shorter stints as opposed to a long stint, just because I would always want him to go out there and have that edge and have that and not actually lose it for a couple outs, maybe an inning, whatever it is. So for me, I think he's better suited for shorter outings, which means that he wouldn't start, but you never know. I just think he would be better in that role.
It kind of reminds me of
Hess.
No.
No.
Matty Ott. So my sophomore year, right? Matty Ott was a freshman All-American, set the school record for saves his freshman year. We won the World Series. We go, well, then Ronaldo gets hurt. I think Austin Ross went down for a little bit, and we didn't have a lot of depth on the mound, and we didn't have starting pitching. And Matty wasn't pitching terrible. He was blowing some saves at the back end of some games that, some were really unlucky and just one of those things where the ball always went the opposite direction it needed to go. And so coach thought maybe we're going to put him in the starting rotation, right, and try that. So he started at Florida, and that did not go well. And I don't know if he made it out the second inning. And so but at that point in his career, he was basically a one-pitch guy with his slider. I mean, he had his two-seam fastball, and he had the hard breaking ball. But, once you got to the starting rotation, it's a little bit harder just to rely just on that. So that's kind of what that reminds me of. So I don't know if he's going to start. He may get some opportunities. I could see him throwing 2-3 innings in a game, right? Remember the closer that Arkansas had a few years ago? He was like the pitcher of the year or whatever in the SEC. He would start some games, but majority of the time he'd come in and sometimes he would throw 6 innings out the bullpen. And all he had was basically that nasty slider. So I could see something like that. He'd kind of be that get me out of trouble guy no matter when that trouble is.
I think that's what he's best suited for in my mind also.
Yeah.
I would agree with that.
Catcher
is the other position of need or other position of competition, right? I believe you're going to see 3 guys play, right? Aaron Beatty's the freshman. I think he's got the most upside because he's the youngest and he's extremely talented. Turned down a bunch of money to come to LSU. You got Luis Hernandez, transfer from Indiana State. Can swing the shit out of it. Had a great year offensively. Played some first. Went in there as a catcher. They say he looks good behind the plate. They say he's been great in the fall. You're going to see him back there, and then you're going to see Blaze Priester, right? Transfer from LSU. I think you're going to see Priester in the lineup a lot more as a DH than as a catcher, but you're going to see him behind the dish sometimes as well.
Yeah, I would imagine. So that's a spot right there that'll be interesting to watch this year. And that's when we talk about what Jay's been able to have in terms of depth over the past couple years. I think his ability or his experience with that is going to show up in that spot probably pretty early. I think you're going to end up seeing 2 down the stretch, 3 to start for sure. And like you said, one of them may be that extra bat that's in the lineup, but I don't foresee them being able to or using 3 throughout the whole year. But to start trying to figure it out, especially since Aaron Biddy's such a talent, but a young talent, and it's hard for those guys to come in and be basically the stalwart behind the plate for the whole year, even though we saw Auburn have one last year. It's a thing. It can happen, but it's not super common. So I do think 3 to start, but I think you'll see Jay kind of exercise his ability to kind of sift out and figure out what he wants in that spot pretty early on.
Agreed. I would love to see Aaron Beatty get a lot. And look, I think the other guys are good, and maybe they're the better player. Maybe they're going to get majority of the thing. But I came in when he was a sophomore, but I watched him as a freshman. Micah Gibbs and Sean Ochinko both kind of split some time. Sean was the sophomore, and Micah was the freshman that came in, very highly touted. It got to the point where they were kind of alternating, and it got to the point where Micah just kind of like leapfrogged and took that level. And then Sean ended up playing some first, DH, and then the next year obviously played first base pretty much all year. And both are really good catchers, right? But then you had Micah for 3 years, right, starting, kind of understanding the rotation, understanding the pitchers. And to me, I think that's pretty enticing. Obviously, you can't force him there if he's not ready, but I'm anxious to see what he looks like.
2 different personalities, I imagine, between Ochinko and Gibbs.
Couldn't be more opposite, to be honest with you. Couldn't be. One is very outgoing and can, talk to anybody. The other one is extremely intelligent and awesome, funny in his own right, but very, very monotoned. And
Michael was not reserved at all when he came in as a young kid, young freshman from Pflugerville. What are you talking about?
Yeah, Michael was my host.
And wow.
Yeah.
Big swinging.
Well, it was that room, that house. It was Micah, Sean. No, Sean wasn't in that house. It was Micah, Renato,
and DJ, I believe.
And DJ. And so we were kind of in that. So everybody was like, they were all hosting. You know what I mean? They're all together. But yeah, 2 opposite ends of the spectrum.
I would imagine so.
But both really good, right? Both great.
One very analytical.
One about
more feel.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
But there is some, and it begs me to ask the question, is Michael Roby, Bear Jones, about to go off? No respect from the preseason media.
Yes, I agree.
Do you have a guy in mind for whenever y'all play that this happened to, where it's like, oh, really? Not on, like, I don't know if they had top 100 prospect lists like they do now. It feels like baseball.
They do, but it was like Baseball America,
right?
The magazine.
No, yeah, but it didn't happen this way because we didn't have a guy that was literally drafted the year before and then all of a sudden comes back, and then all of a sudden at the same time when he's back, he's expected to be not one of the guys. It's kind of crazy that he is. And honestly, like, I hope and I think that this is going to be channeled the right way. But there is a little reserve on the side of it. It says, just please don't try to do too much because you don't have to do too much. You are too much already in a sense of like, that's with the ability that you have. So just go out there and be you. You don't have to try to do more. And if he can do that and he can channel that the right way, look out.
BU.
Oh, look out.
BU is good enough. Plenty good enough, right? And, by being him, he's gotten to where he's at. By being him, he's doubled his home run total from his freshman year to his sophomore year, right? I'm not saying he's going to double his home run total this year, go hit 56.
Be nice.
But that would be great.
I thought that's what you were saying.
But 40, and 40 is a large number, but I mean he has the potential to do it. I think he could definitely get to 30s, and if he continues to the progression that he's shown with his plate discipline, walking, not trying to do too much, right? Not trying to hit the 6-run homer with nobody on base, right? I think he'll do extraordinary things.
Do you think that there's any thought of him playing any position other than first?
Yeah, I mean, I think that they've worked him at third a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I think you may see him over there, especially if Braswell gets hurt or does something, and he's proven and Bear proves that he can be serviceable there, and someone else has given you enough confidence to be able to play first, right? Because I think that's the other side of it. You need someone to be able to go there and play first. That was a big question mark last year with him. After you lost Trey Morgan, who was one of your better defensive first basemen, who saved runs and was able to dig balls out of the dirt, how's Bear Jones going to respond and be able to adjust to first? And he did really well, right? Had a great year at first base. Obviously, they're comparing him to a really good defender, but he had a really good year. And so, you don't want to sacrifice that just to give him some time at a different position. So I think if both things play out, you could see him play some third.
Because you have
for sure
18 games. Go ahead.
You got to remember too, like he came back this year. So like we talked about the three guys who we expect to see kind of on the left side, second base position, but Bear might be able to mix in the outfield. But you got to remember him coming back, doing what he did last year. Obviously, you would need to and want to see him do that again with the bat. But if there's any opportunity at all throughout the year to be able to show that he has versatility, to be able to show that maybe he can play some corner outfield, maybe he can play another corner infield spot, that would only help him going forward in the draft. And I would imagine that has to be on Jay's mind or in the back of his mind, like, how do I keep adding value to this guy who is a huge value to our organization already?
No doubt. So I think if you're gonna see that, you're gonna see that earlier in the season, because I think that's where you have the ability to experiment, right, with the schedule. And I'm glad we talked about this, because this is kind of goes into their schedule, right? They open the season on Valentine's Day. They play Purdue Fort Wayne for 3 games. Then they play Southern, and they're at Nichols, and they play Omaha for 3 games. Then they're at that Globe Life Field for that tournament. So that's going to be probably their first tough matchups. Nebraska is, I think, ranked 24th in the preseason. You got North Dakota State who's coming down for a midweek series, and as Maneri would say, these guys have been fucking inside all fucking winter. You know how fucking excited they are? They're going to come in and try to whoop your ass. They're so excited to be out here with no sleep.
They've been inside. They've been pissing. They piss vinegar right now. They've been inside for the last 6 months. They haven't seen the sun.
You think that they're nervous about 40-degree weather? This is the fucking summer for them. They're so fucking excited for this. You better come out ready to play. Don't take them lightly. North Dakota State, that team, coming down midweek. North Alabama's playing that weekend. And then you got Xavier, also from the Midwest, in Ohio. And then you start SEC play March 14th at home against Missouri, right? Obviously, Missouri is a team that you should handle with the talent that you have. And so that's your first 3 games. Then you play at Texas, right? That one is big for multitude of reasons. One, it's Texas, and everybody always wants to beat Texas. 2, Nolan Cain and the whole squad from Texas A&M is now the coaching staff for Texas. So that's going to be a tough matchup. Then you're at home against Mississippi State. So Texas ranked in the top 25, Mississippi State ranked in the top 25. You got Oklahoma. I don't think they're ranked. And you got at Auburn. So you're going at Oklahoma, at Auburn, and then you got Alabama at home, and then you get to the gauntlet. Tennessee, Texas A&M, at Texas A&M, Arkansas at home, at South Carolina. So you have, 3 of the top 7 teams in the country back to back to back. And so you better figure out that lineup, and you better figure out your best lineup before you get to that, and do all your experimenting early on in the season with, those tough sons of bitches from North Dakota State.
Well, and you skipped a glaring.
And the thing is, too, go ahead, Lloyd.
Oh, I was just say you skipped it. One team that went to a regional in Arizona last year, which is Dallas Baptist, 1 game.
That's in that tournament.
Yeah, a little matchup with a top 20 team as they're ranked 20th in the preseason right now, which I think will be a very big litmus test for you, as that's your first real test.
No doubt. So you have Dallas Baptist as the start. No, that's not part of the tournament.
Oh, it's just standalone?
Yeah, so college baseball series at Globe Life Field. You go to, on Wednesday the 26th, you play Dallas Baptist. Then you go to Frisco, and you have Thursday off, and you play Friday, Saturday, Sunday in Frisco. So one is college baseball series at Globe Life Field. The other is Frisco College Baseball Classic. So that's kind of similar to what they did last year. Remember they played, I think they played, or 2 years ago, when they went to Houston, they played Texas or whatever. Maybe it was the same thing, and then they went and played that 3-game round robin.
Last
in that
year
tournament.
I think they played Texas and then UL in the round at the Juice Box.
Yeah, right. But the year before that, they played a midweek, not part of the tournament.
That was a big time game.
Big time game.
Yeah.
Right. And then they played the tournament. But yeah, I mean, you're gonna have Dallas Baptist ranked in the top 25. Nebraska's ranked in the top 25. That week's gonna be your first challenge.
You'll have a little bit of feel for where you are.
No doubt. And it's good to have those early in the season. Kind of figure out who you are early, and that's something that you can learn from.
People are going to be pissed on Wednesday whenever Chase Shores isn't throwing. Cause you
Oh yeah,
Just get ready for all of that.
Yeah, we're gonna we're gonna keep the rotation. We're not playing because we're keeping the rotation. Okay, he's that Friday guy. He's gonna pitch on Friday.
It's a big chance for Will Schmidt.
It is, or one of the other 6 guys that we have that have the capabilities of starting. But no, it's gonna be a tough schedule. Let's get to the SEC. SEC in general is gonna be a tough gauntlet, right? Every year, there's a team in the SEC that isn't ranked in the top 25 that ends up being a lot better than some people had thought. A couple years ago, I believe it was I don't know if it was Mississippi State. Last year it was Kentucky. A couple years ago, I think it was Auburn. And so you just never really know, right? Alabama last year was a lot better than people thought because they had a bunch of guys leaving the transfer portal. I don't think really Missouri's ever been, one of those. They're good. There's a guy you got to worry about. But they're not going to Missouri. They did that last year where it's kind of a sleepy place to play. But Mississippi State's back in the top 25. Ole Miss is a team hasn't been very good the last couple years, but brought in a really good recruiting class and have some impact transfers. So SEC is obviously going to be as competitive as always, but I think for me, that back end of the schedule is where you're going to win or lose the conference.
The back end, considering it starts with, you can throw Alabama in there, but when you hit the middle of April, you have Alabama, Tennessee, Texas A&M, Arkansas, and
that's your last 5 series.
And
your
then
second half.
The swan song was South Carolina. And
that's the other thing, right? South Carolina's not ranked in the top 25 as of now. But there's the storyline obviously is enormous. P Money's over there, and as much as he loves LSU, he's gonna have his guys playing their ass off to beat LSU. And look, at that point in the year, who knows what the season looks like? South Carolina may be fighting for their postseason lives, right? Like they may have to go and win the series against LSU at home to be able to feel comfortable with the postseason or get into the tournament or whatever it is. So yeah, that's the one you can't really sleep on.
Yeah, that's a healthy back end of the season, and to be completely honest, I think the first part of the season is really important for them because I don't know who will or not will be playing really well in terms of who they got on the schedule. But like you said, we always know that there's one riser that isn't really looked at as supposed to be that in the first half of the season or in the season that shows up at some point during the year. We expect those teams in the back end to be there. Maybe they will, maybe they won't, but we know at this point right now, those are talented ball clubs. So those are the teams you expect to be there. The ones in the middle, we don't know too much about yet. We aren't too high on yet. One of them is going to rise, right? And you want to be able to get yourself going before you have to go into the back end of the year because the last thing you want is to go into that part of the season and sit there and be looking at it being like, man, all those teams are hitting on all cylinders. They pretty much got all their guys, and we got to pretty much go out there and we either win every series and or sweep them to get where we want to go. Yeah. That's not what you want. You want the luxury to be able to go there and play confidently, play loosely, and play ready to get yourself to propel you to the back end of the year as well.
Yeah, no doubt. Lloyd?
What?
Oh, I thought you were going to chime in.
No, I mean that's y'all's arena. The P Money.
Yeah, but it's the questions I like that you have.
Oh yeah,
your additions
locked and loaded. I was messing with the chat.
Yeah, that's okay. That's what we need that too.
Part of the job.
Because
Tokidoki said that Bear hit a ball over the scoreboard already. So
yeah, that makes sense. we've seen that a couple times.
And our guy Canes, Heat, Panthers 305 is not here today, so they're like lamenting. It's like, damn, this is what he's been asking for about a year.
Damn,
This is
the one
first
day.
baseball talk show.
That was the one day he's been asking for it, and he ain't here to hear
Baseball.
it.
Don't snooze, cuz. Hey, don't snooze,
That's what I
cuz.
said.
All right, listen.
Snooze, you lose.
Listen to me. Y'all gonna be wishing we weren't talking baseball for a minute because it's there's gonna be a lot of baseball conversations that are gonna be happening. Obviously, we'll get Jay back on the show. I really want to start getting some of the assistant coaches. I know Josh Jordan wants to come on the show.
They all do.
And talk about, the recruiting classes have been amazing, right? He's been heading that up. And then we got a list of a lot of players that want to come on. So
New strength coach.
new strength coach.
We met him, who was savvy move. First day he was on the job. He was in the office already. What were we? Oh, a spring game.
It was, Who wanted to see it? Oh, Cotrera wanted to go and walk.
Oh, yeah.
Him and
Still
Luke
jacked.
him and Luke Sanders wanted to walk through with their kids. And so we go. But Jay likes his assistant coaches to kind of get some pub, and there's going to be a lot of conversations with these guys on throughout the course of the year. Let's get back to the SEC talk, though. So outside of LSU, obviously we're homers and bias and all that stuff. What team are you most concerned about in the SEC? I guess that's going to challenge LSU for being at the head of it.
I wouldn't. I don't
Boy,
know. I don't know how
listen,
well
your
they'll challenge,
your boys at A&M. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, no. But look, listen, I don't know how well they'll challenge, but we just talked about, all right, these are the teams that we see at the top, and these are the 9 that are ranked. But one of them that's ranked pretty low, who has a coaching staff that is out some stars that have done well, that have grown some programs that have done really well. Man, is Texas going to do it this year?
Right.
Is Texas going to be one of those teams that kind of propels themselves to the front end of the SEC like they did in football this year? Like, that's one that I'm watching, obviously, with the staff that they have there, the players that they were able kind of to bring in and kind of retain and all of that kind of stuff. That's one of the ones I'm looking at because we know what that place can be if it turns into a monster. You do have the right people that can turn it into a monster. How quickly can they do it?
yeah. And, they got brought in there. Listen, that same staff did that exact same thing at Texas A&M when they got brought in there.
Yeah.
Right? They made a huge impact early on. I think that's a team to watch. I think, just from the top of it, obviously Texas A&M's preseason number 1 in the country, right? And I think that's because a lot of the guys came back. You have Lavalette, who's supposed to be potentially a 1 overall pick. He's going to be a top 10 pick in the draft. You have Grahovic, and you have a bunch of guys that are coming back, experienced, talented guys. Obviously, that's why they are number 1. I think they're super talented. I'm not as concerned about them just because there is a lot of turnover with some of the other coaching assistants. It's no matter how good they are, it's still just a new vibe. How are they going to click? How early are they going to click? Who knows? Obviously, Tennessee defending champs. So, I think LSU has shown how hard it is to repeat, right? You have a target on your back, even though it feels like Tennessee's always had a target on their back since Vitello's been there. I think they are going to be really good. But for me, the Arkansas team, right? From the people that I've talked to that are kind of close with the Arkansas guys and understand kind of what's going on there, they're always going to have arms. That's the one thing Arkansas has always had. They have a ton of pitchers and super talented pitchers. It was always, are they going to be able to hit enough? Are they going to be able to score enough runs to be able to keep up with some of these powerful offenses? And the reports that I'm getting from Arkansas are they have the offense. They have firepower now in their lineup to be able to complement their pitching staff. So that's the one that I'm looking at. They've, the national championship has eluded them for a really long time. They should have won one. Second baseman got a little selfish and greedy and wanted it. The senior wanted it. He wanted the out, even though the right fielder probably should have caught it.
Or the first baseman.
Probably the right fielder. And did not work out that way. And
just a
ended
high
up losing
strike.
the game.
The one who wanted it is the one who should have caught it, and apparently nobody wanted it that bad.
No, the one who wanted the worst was third on the rung to catch it. Like, hey bud, You're running a million miles an hour as far as you can, looking over your shoulder at a ball that's probably going to come back this way.
It's too high.
Let the right fielder, that's his butt. That's his ball. Let him go get it.
What do you mean too high?
What do you mean too high?
What a brutal way to lose.
Yeah, that's tough. But that's the one. That's the team in the SEC that I'm keeping an eye on. They're obviously always really good. It feels like there's more pressure on them now to kind of take that next step and win the national championship before Van Horn is gone.
You would have to imagine that
Van Horn doesn't want to be Mike Martin.
You don't want to be
go
known,
to Omaha all those times and never win it.
Always the bridesmaid, never the bride.
Yeah, I don't want that to happen.
And you'd imagine Tennessee has to have a little bit of a kind of step back just because there was so much pressure for them to finally win one when they had the most talented team of all time to ever play college baseball. They fell short. Then they kind of reevaluate the process, get a national championship. I know Vitello is always going to have that coach with that edge, but it feels like it's only natural to kind of be like, exhale a little bit in those situations where like you're not pressing nearly as much. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing.
Well,
where you could kind of come into your own. It's like, okay, now I know how to do it.
Well, I think
we all think
coming off of a national championship, right? Like you haven't gotten there and you've never won it, right? And so you don't know what that feels like, and so you're chasing that feeling. Right, you're chasing okay, let's just keep going. And then once you finally get there and you get it, it's not saying you're trying any less than you were the year before. You're still working your ass off. You haven't really let up, but subconsciously you have that in the back of your mind that you kind of got there. So like you're still doing everything you're doing, you're still working hard, but there's something there that you're not chasing. And so like you got to figure out what that is and how to create that, simulate that feeling again, even though you've already attained it. And look, some young guys were on the team that maybe didn't have as much of an impact as they wanted to or as they expected to because of how talented the team was. And then now those guys see what it feels like to win it, but they see it from the other side. So they just kind of, they weren't in the middle of it and weren't in the thick of it and say, damn, this is how hard it really was. We just saw it from kind of the sideline and, oh, yeah, we're just going to do it again. That's a hard thing to grapple with.
Yeah, I would say, dude, for me, it's not even so much about the talent and or however you want to look at it. In that case, you just got it. That where they are right now reminds me a ton of where we were or where LSU was in 2010. You got to remember, 2008, we go to the College World Series and we have a pretty big. Well, I lied. We brought a lot of guys back, but we had a lot of guys that were actually big contributors on that 07 and obviously the 08 team that left. Then 09, we're able to get there and we get the job done. There is a mass exodus of players that leaves. That's where Tennessee is right now. They've been building this thing up for a while. The last couple of years, they've lost a lot of high-end, top-of-the-bar type of talent. And now you got a lot of guys who just haven't done it. I'm not saying they're not talented, who just hasn't done it yet. I think they're in that spot again where it's hard to understand what's expected of you in these situations if you haven't actually played it and haven't actually done it. So I think that that's what's going to be their biggest hurdle. And to be able to get over that hump in that situation, it's hard. And you don't really see too many teams do it. So I expect them to be very good. I expect them to be very competitive. I'm just not sure that they're ready for those high leverage moments yet because they just haven't had the guys on the team right now who have done it, especially in this conference.
Agreed. 100%. It's hard. I mean, you talk about 2010, it's hard to repeat. And, nobody on that team worked any less hard than they did the year before, right? Some could argue that we worked harder than we did the year before, so that we didn't get into that mode. And look, first 38 games we were really good, 32-6. Injuries, some very unfortunate things happened. We didn't have the depth that we really wanted to have. And you lose anytime you win a championship, you're going to lose some key contributors. And so that was a very hard thing to kind of overcome. And LSU had to go through the same thing in 2024 last year after they won it. Tennessee, it feels like they're kind of better equipped going into this year than LSU was last year, just because I think they have some more proven guys than guys that these guys could be good. I don't see them repeating though. It's just, to me, it's too hard to do.
Yeah, like I remember back when who was it, South Carolina, when they had the Whit Merrifields,
Yeah, it was
Jackie
10-11.
Juniors, and those guys were on the team again, and they were a part of the championship the year before. I think that's kind of the recipe that makes it kind of attainable, if you will, to be able to do the repeating thing. I think it's hard when you got a core group that is no longer there, and you have to establish another group that's the core group of your guys that you're expecting to be the biggest contributors on in your ball club.
How different does the transfer portal make it now? Whenever you add in all of these pieces, you kind of.
I mean, look at what LSU did 2 years ago. Yeah, I mean, the transfer portal helps it a ton. It does, but it's also you understand the type of leader that Paul Skeens was, that Dylan Cruz was, and obviously the rest of the guys that were in there is too. It's not just about the talent. You have to be able to infuse the right guys with the right mindset, with the right ability to come in and fit in a special kind of way. So do I expect them to be a good ball club? Yeah, like I don't think that's not the problem at all. I do think though, when it comes to, we're going to find out, but I think when it comes to when you have that many guys who exit the program who have been literally your rocks and your backbone, it's hard to find that shit in 56 more games that quick. It just is.
Yeah. Agreed. 100%.
Yeah, because I'm just interested to see how you mesh all of this like talent together, especially when you go, I don't want to say so portal heavy, but you bring in a lot of guys that you're expecting to contribute on guys that weren't on the team before, and it's hard to find that. That's where I feel like Jay sometimes does this to himself, where he adds a bunch of talent, but then he leaves it up to himself to be able to diagnose the roster throughout the year, the pitching staff throughout the year. He puts a lot on his own plate to be able to figure out how to mix and match. He's like a little chemist in there, and sometimes it takes a second to be able to find the right formula, as you saw last year, where it took nearly 60 games to be able to find out, okay, this is the lineup, and you're taking the bat out of some people's hands, you're putting it in some people's hands that aren't really maybe ready for the moment, but it's the matchup that's called upon. And then you cast a lot of aspersions on yourself by the fan base, and that's what comes with being a head coach, but not a lot of people do it that way.
Right.
Like, here's the team, go play.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I like lineup-based things where he's looking at numbers and doing all these different things.
For sure. I think that
he does that to himself.
No, but I think he learned his lesson last year. I think he admitted that, like, yeah, I wish I was able to find a lineup earlier so that these guys can kind of build that chemistry with each other. But there's a fine line, because you want to have that, but you also want to sprinkle in some of the other guys and give them at bats whenever you can. So it's a hard thing. I mean, coaching's hard, especially when you're coaching at a high level with a team full of talent, and you're trying to win, right? And keep people happy, especially with the portal. So
promises made.
Yeah.
Yep.
Guaranteed starts.
No doubt. What y'all got on the football game tonight?
I am actually watching live the LSU Vanderbilt women's game.
Oh yeah. LSU ranks fifth in the country, undefeated, playing at home tonight, right now,
against a 17-3 Vanderbilt team, I believe.
17-3 Vanderbilt. What's the score?
46-44 LSU. They're in a bit of a dogfight.
A little bit of a dogfight.
So I'm just trying to keep up with this chat. Also, a lot of people complaining.
Why?
Just not just in LSU basketball.
Oh, about the women's basketball.
Yeah.
game.
Not our chat. I'm talking about this illegal live stream that people are bitching about.
Illegal live stream.
It's on YouTube. This is buffering. It's skipping around. It's like, it's fucking free.
Yeah, it's free. What are you complaining about, dude?
Why don't you go get YouTube TV and then you don't have to worry about it?
No doubt.
You can bitch in this chat.
LSU basketball plays tomorrow. Lost 3 straight. They better start finding a way
They
to
are
win a
running
game.
out of opportunity.
Playing Arkansas. Arkansas is the other team in the SEC that hasn't played very well.
Battle of the Titans, both 0-3 in conference.
Yes. So, would be big for them to win the game tomorrow. Get their first win.
Against the Cal
First
team.
things first.
That is
Against a who?
Cal.
Yeah.
Cal at Arkansas.
Yeah, he's not loving where he's at right now.
No, but he got paid a handsome amount to
Yeah,
go
he
to
did.
Arkansas by Mr. Wally World.
Yeah, he did.
And after their last, I believe it was 2 weeks ago, where they traveled for an early away game, and half the team didn't show up to shoot around. And he's like, I don't know where they are. They just decided not to come. It's like, Cal, you know that you're the head coach of the team.
Yeah, that's not good.
And he doesn't care.
No, that's not good. That's not ideal. Yeah, it'd be nice to win a game. I think the first thing that you need to clean up is let's stop turning the ball over a million times. They've done that a lot recently. And actually not recently, all year for the most part. So that's never good. You know, not everybody can put up the 26, 8, and 5 line that I put up last night. You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe they need you.
Yeah. Listen,
Oh my God.
I would not help them out at all. can promise you that.
They need a point guard.
Definitely not a point guard. Nope, not me. Not me.
They
I'm
need
more
a
of
foul
a
man. They need somebody to play some defense.
no. I'm more of a slasher shooter type guy.
They got
All
plenty
right?
of that.
Yeah, they don't need me. They need somebody who can create their own shot and do whatever.
They are currently turning the ball over. In 3 games, they have 46 turnovers to 33. So in 3 games, that is 15 turnovers a game.
Yeah.
And
15.
And they are scored by periods. Obviously, this is men's basketball where you play a first half and a second half. In 3 games, they have scored 80 points in the first half.
Yeah, so they start off slow.
Slow?
Not great.
No.
Not great.
Slow.
They start off slow. Try to pick it up, but with the talent you have in the SEC, that's very hard to do. They did that in the preseason, but they're able to overcome that because you're not playing the best conference in the country.
Well, you've played the worst teams in the conference in the country, and you're over.
Over.
You gave Missouri their first conference win in a year.
Really? They went over last year?
Yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't close.
But in the second quarter, they're scoring 124 points.
Right.
But
So
giving
let's
up 136.
yeah, that's also not good. So they give up on the defense so they can score offense, but then they have already been outscored in the first half, and you're getting outscored in the second half
again.
But you're
That's how
scoring
you
more
lose.
points. Yeah, if you're not ever outscoring the opponent, you're probably not going to win.
No. And
The way it works.
And this is kind of a little bit on me. I thought they were going to be
No, me too.
relatively competitive.
And I don't think it's a talent thing. I think it's probably a talent thing.
Well, yeah, because it's hard to, by all measures, Matt McMahon is a good coach. But you're seeing, like, I don't know how you
I think
you
Jay.
can't play basketball for him.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure he's telling them, hey, quit turning
Big
it over.
injury at the beginning of the year, though.
Huge.
I mean, that's
You can't have one player derail your season.
no, but he was an important guy.
He was.
He kind of brought some physicality. Yeah. I don't know. It's been tough. Hopefully they can, win. Listen, 2 years ago when they won 2 games in conference, they went 2-0 against really good teams. Almost went 3-0 against 3 straight ranked teams, lost it, and then lost a bunch in a row. So maybe this year you go and you win one. I'm not saying you go win 12 straight, but you go and win one, kind of feel what it feels like to win a game, and maybe rally off a couple wins here or there and end up being competitive in the SEC. That's one can hope.
Last year they were 500 in conference.
Right, which
you
if-
would lick boots. To
If
get
you got to
9-9.
500 in conference this year, you're in the you're probably an 8 seed
Yeah.
in the tournament, to be honest with you. Maybe higher than that.
They are staring after this Arkansas.
Yeah, what's the
stint,
schedule?
They are staring the barrel down.
Yeah, what is it?
Texas A&M, Alabama, Auburn, Texas, Georgia, and then back to Ole Miss, Arkansas, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
But this stretch, you have to get this one. Auburn is top 5 of the country. Texas is Texas. Georgia has probably one of the best players in the country on their roster. And
Georgia's in the top
Alabama-
25 now.
Yeah, Alabama is also a top 3 team in the country. So
Yeah.
I don't know if
Do we
those
play Tennessee?
later in the year.
Yeah, they're good too. They're 1 in the country, I think.
Yeah, you play them in February. And then Mississippi State, then Kentucky. So, yeah, it's a gauntlet, and you've kind of wasted 2 of your opportunities.
3.
Two bullets. Yeah, you could say 3, but definitely 2. Vanderbilt, Missouri would have been nice to be able to get a win. It'll
Yeah.
split, and you go 0 for 3, and you just can't really get off the mat. But you need to. Arkansas
to.
would be a great start for this.
Got to.
Because it's an 8 o'clock tip at the PMAC. And you're-
Tuesday? Tomorrow?
Yeah, and you're not inspiring a lot of confidence for people to go to the PMAC.
No. Gotta get off the mat. Kick the guy in the nuts. Cheap shot. Whatever you gotta
Whatever
do to
you
get
gotta
up.
do,
Whatever
get a
you gotta do
flagrant.
to stand back up, go do it.
Yeah. Standing 8 count.
Don't play dead though. Just don't play dead.
All right, so what we got in this game? Obviously the game started about 5 minutes ago in game time.
In Glendale.
It's in Glendale.
Yeah.
I didn't say it. I mean, I said in game time, but it's in Glendale, obviously, because of all the fires in LA. The Rams, Glendale or Arizona gave their facility to the Rams and let them kind of house them there. Minnesota is coming down there. Obviously, Sam Darnold is having an unbelievable season. You got Matt Stafford, who is a Super Bowl winning quarterback. Vikings best 5 seed ever, 14-3. I mean, unbelievable. Rams are going right down there, 3rd and 7, and did he get it?
We'll see.
Did not get it. Wait, did not get it. nowadays everybody's going for it, right? So
Yeah, if you have Jaden Daniels, I don't know if he and Stafford have the same skill set.
yeah,
But
I'd
this
imagine
is
they're going for
a mentor versus mentee battle when you have
O'Connell.
Kevin O'Connell, who was on staff with McVay, who was on staff with Shanahan. This is the tree.
Yeah,
All
they got
coming
more than
together.
that too. That Zach Taylor was on
Oh,
that one
there's
too.
seeds everywhere.
McDaniel was on that.
Yeah. But this is their first matchup against each other.
Hey, what y'all got on AJ Brown reading?
I don't mind it.
Me either. I don't either. I don't either.
Here's the thing. I don't understand how we've gone through 18 weeks of football and nobody has seen that yet because he claims he's been doing it all year. I don't understand how we're just finally seeing that thing. I don't really mind it, though.
I don't either. Listen, it's not like he was reading a fictional novel. Like, he was reading a self-help thing that maybe is going to trigger something in his head. Like, I'm okay with it. You know what I mean? I
What
don't.
if he was reading like 50 Shades of Grey?
Yeah, if he was reading something like if he was reading Goosebumps on the side.
I don't care. I'll be honest with you, I don't care what he was reading. If you could sit here and give me a reason as to why you're doing it, and if it's helping you and it's allowing you to stick in and I can keep you engaged, hey, bro, go have at it.
Right.
Because there's
No,
a
I'm
lot
with you.
worse things you could be doing on the sideline right now. So, like, I don't care.
They did go for it and got it, and they just scored a touchdown.
That's why you go for it.
Of course.
Yeah, well, they got it, and then they went, I think, and then they went.
Bro, it's 2025. Nobody punts. You
Nobody,
gotta be like
or
4th
kicks
and 30
field goal.
to punt these days.
Interaction. My question is this: how many? I'm sure somebody has this stat. How popular has interaction? Because I'm gonna probably get the book. I'm just gonna. I want to see what it's about. How many people have bought that book over the last 24 hours? You think?
It is currently the #1 bestseller on Amazon.
There you go.
I believe
Of course.
I believe before that it was in the hundreds of thousands of
What if?
its rank. And now
Okay,
it's
so
number
it's
one.
it's shot up there.
Yeah, this is
what
perfect
if
marketing.
What if tinfoil hat?
Book deal.
He's been doing this, right? Maybe he has been using this book, and maybe he reached out to the author and was like, "Hey, you know, I use this every game," and maybe the author said, "Hey, why don't you go out there and publicize that and bring some notoriety to the book, and I'll give you some. I'll give you money on it.
Residuals
Yeah.
off the top of Inner
Yeah,
Excellence.
sponsor me. I'll
It
give you a
was-
sponsorship
Yesterday,
endorsement.
Inner Excellence moved up from 523,497th on Amazon's book list to #1.
Wow. Who's the author of it?
Jim Murphy.
Jim Murphy. Jim Murphy's having a good day.
Goal.
Jim Murphy woke up
That's
and
a
he's
great
like,
day for
"Hey, look,
Jim."
maybe Jim Murphy.
Had no clue.
Maybe Jim Murphy's not a football fan.
Yeah.
Maybe he was sitting at home and he woke up and then all of a sudden, maybe he's checking his Amazon account and all of a sudden he's like, "Holy shit, how come I have so much money in here?" And he goes,
What happened?
"Hey, we're #1 bestseller on Amazon." What happened?
He's
And all of a
seeing all the
sudden,
sales come through. Well, hey, what's going on here? How did this happen?
he's trending on Twitter and he's like, "What? And then he sees, AJ Brown.
Jim, you need to turn on ESPN. I think you might be a little interested in what you see.
What's ESPN? Well,
Yeah.
it's a
Well, just
sports
get on
channel.
it.
It's a
Check the
sports
TV
channel.
guide and get on it. Hurry up.
Good for Jim Murphy.
Excellent for Jim Murphy. Hey,
Inner excellence.
$18 a pop.
I mean, that's a lot of books sold.
Good for him. That's fire.
Does it say how many books he sold? Does it give you like a breakdown?
I mean, I'm not well.
Is that like the author? Is that like the author lottery, basically? Like,
Yeah, it has to
is that
be.
basically what he just
I
did?
mean, dude, like, I wonder if it's any good.
It's still in stock, so he hasn't sold out. But
I think it's impossible to sell out now, right? Because you have like ebooks and like.
Sure. I think people want this physical copy.
I look, AJ Brown was highlighting shit. He had stuff bookmarked, like he had notes written in there.
Yeah.
Maybe he bought it used and already had that in there.
I mean, what a day for Jim. But it doesn't tell me how
I'm
many
happy
units
for Jim.
have been sold. But
I'm happy
it
for
can't
Jim.
be easy to just jump to #1 on the book list.
No doubt. 500 from 523,000. Right, what's number 2?
How I don't go to books.
Oh, it doesn't have the list? Like
No, it just says #1. Bestsellers. Onyx Storm. Deluxe Limited Edition, the Empyrean 3.
Ah.
The Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins. The apothecary. Forgotten home apothecary. Powerful remedies at your disposal. And Atomic Habits. That's on here all the time.
And he beat it.
He has hacked the system.
Jim Murphy's ahead of all of them.
How many authors do you think are going to start doing this? Like, hey, bring the book to the sidelines.
Well, I think LeBron tried to do that, but
Yeah, with The Godfather, he hadn't read a page yet.
he read the first 3 pages. He's always on the 3rd page.
Yeah, Martin Luther King.
He realized he stopped bringing books.
Yeah.
They
Malcolm X.
caught him.
Well, they asked about it. Like, what's your favorite part of the book? He's like, I mean, I love every part of the book. So none of it? The front page?
Yeah, whatever Cliff Notes tells
The
me.
forward?
Yeah.
To my wonderful wife.
The intro. What is the intro called?
The forward.
The forward. That's right. You're right.
Yeah.
It's about as far. And then when it's like 5 pages, you just kind of skip through that whole part. Like, this is even part of the book.
This is
What
part.
is it?
We don't need to listen to read this.
I don't need to read this part.
I need to read this.
And you're like, when you do read it and you catch yourself like, that was 10 pages, like, I'll start it tomorrow. Back in the book reading days. Now everybody just listens to books and pretends like they read them. It is not the same
I actually
thing.
have a book right now that I started reading, and I was like, damn, this is great.
How to
But that's on my New Year's resolution. I want to read 3 books this year.
How many pages?
I'm halfway through, but I haven't read it.
Time out. That's on your New Year's resolution? What else is on there?
What else is on there?
Intermittent fasting?
Yeah.
That's really the number one thing.
Once we get through that one, there might be another thing.
Yeah, that's like the really one thing I wanted to do differently this year was I wanted to read more, so I put that on there.
What book are you reading?
It is a sales book, actually.
What's it called?
I don't remember the name of it.
Oh, he doesn't know the name of the book.
I do not remember the name of the book.
Okay, LeBron.
I do not.
Halfway through
It was given to me. It was given to me as a suggested read from a business mentor of mine, and I started it, and honestly could not tell you the name of it.
How many pages have you colored in?
Yeah. But I have read half of it.
How many crosswords have you done in? Huh?
Hey, I do a crossword a day though.
Do you? Like one part of a crossword?
No, I do a full crossword puzzle a day. I have a little book.
Oh my God.
What is it, like the beginner's ones for the New York Times?
No, it goes like easy, medium,
Right.
You know, whatever. So like in my head, I'm just like, I want to finish it. I guess that's another thing. Like it'd be really cool to have all these done at some point. So every day I do one, and then some of the easy ones you just blow through, and then
once you get the crossword brain, they do become a lot easier because
no doubt.
Don't worry about it. We'll check back in 6 months. We'll see where you're at.
for sure. He must still be halfway through this book.
No doubt. Listen, I'm gonna have. Yeah. Look. Anybody have any other recommendations of books?
Progress report. Don't worry about it.
Any other? Look, I'll write a term paper for y'all too if I need to.
Chat GPT that thing.
If anyone has any other suggestions, book suggestions, I do want to read Art of the Deal by Trump. To be honest with you, I heard it's really good.
You think he wrote that?
I mean, I'm sure somebody wrote it, but was talking to him. I don't think he actually wrote the book.
Hell of a cover.
Art of the Deal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tony Schwartz wrote that book.
I ever told you the story about my uncle and Trump?
Which uncle?
Ronnie.
Oh, God. Talk about a meeting of the minds.
So, and I have friends that Jared is close to as well that can vouch for this
interaction.
Actually, I don't know if I should say that out loud because I don't want to ruin it for everybody. Regardless, I'll give you the cliff notes. So, U.S. Open tennis tournament. There's an opportunity. Uncle had a friend that was an usher, and early on in the rounds, my uncle was able to get down to the box seat. He befriended in these
sections.
And early rounds of the U.S. Open, not there, right? Like those people who own those seats aren't ever there. They're only there for the semifinals, finals, the whole deal. So those seats are given away, so they can fill them up and people can be down there. Well, my uncle was going down there, and this usher who issued him the seats, Trump shows up, and Trump goes to the usher and he's like, "Hey, they're in my seats." And the usher tells Trump, "Sir, sir, those are my seats when you're not here."
Yeah.
I don't think
you understand how this thing works.
Yeah.
Everybody's a hustler until you get hustled.
But yeah, that's my. What do you have a New Year resolution?
No, I'm far too past. We're 13 days in.
Jared?
Next year I'll get on it.
No, you don't have any. You don't know. Not New Year, new me type thing.
No. Not me.
No, I want to read. That's really what I want to try to do. Is read more. So
Like I said, 6
I
months.
guess-
We'll check back in. We'll let you know.
Yeah, yeah.
all right.
I should read more. I can read. I take advantage of it,
Yeah, I'm ADD, so like I really have to be in the right
State of mind.
state of mind.
Oh, and then like you try to
And then I try to do the audio books.
can't do it.
More ADD.
Yeah, not listening.
No, more ADD.
It's just somebody talking the entire time.
exactly.
But I can listen to a sports podcast for 3 hours.
No doubt.
It's unbelievable.
No doubt.
And then, have you ever do you remember studying for school when you read like a history book and you like read the same paragraph like 15 times? Like, this is fucking pointless.
Terrible.
And then that's
But
then
what
you
did I
go-
just get out of that? I don't remember. What did I just...
what did I just read?
And this is what I always thought. History is or stories, right? Stories about what happened in the world, what happened in the United States,
Nonfiction.
whatever it was, right? Like, so, in my opinion, like if you want to go and you want to be like, make history more interesting, you should create, and they do obviously movies, but like actually historically factual movies and entertaining to where you can, hey, kids, why don't you just watch this? You'll learn a whole hell of a lot more by watching it because you're going to retain that because it's entertaining than having to sit there with a old school textbook that has been written in every year with the person who owned the textbook.
There's always somebody that put a penis in somebody's mouth. Like George Washington never did that.
No, that's not.
That-
Maybe.
Maybe. There's wooden
What kind of
teeth.
books you was reading, cuz?
Yeah, everybody used to graffiti up the textbook from, like, this is the third edition from McGraw-Hill. They're like, how old is this thing? And then you would see, like, your dad's name in the book. You're like, oh, my God, history. I guess it hasn't changed since then. But, no, if you could make, like, Band of Brothers does a good job with, like, World War II. Like, that's interesting.
Yeah, right.
Like, just show that in class. and
Right,
people
like
would
that.
pay
Like you
attention.
learn a lot about that.
Yeah, but I don't know
Right.
how historically accurate it is. I'd imagine it's close.
Right, but you can still make it entertaining by being historically accurate.
Yeah,
right?
look at who's the playwright that did the rap for whatever the fuck.
Oh,
that
Hamilton.
was. Yeah.
Yeah, watch that. Almost
See,
yeah, New York.
everybody
It was
knows
awesome.
everything about Hamilton now because you just made it a Mexican guy rapped
doubt.
about it.
It was great.
I don't know how accurate it is.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean,
You spread a lot of misinformation out there
yeah, maybe.
just because it rhymes.
How are you gonna go fact check it? You know what I mean? None of
Probably.
those people are living.
That's true. How do they know?
How do they know? Right? Like we're only going off this based off what they told us. Can't fact check that.
History is
History
written
is-
in the sands of time.
You never know how much of the history is lies because of what they want us to believe. You know, what I mean?
How much of history is taken out that we'll never know
Because they
about.
don't want us to see about it. That'll never happen again because of social media and internet and
And
everything
Grok.
else. And what?
Grok,
What's that?
the AI on Twitter.
Yeah, I've seen it, but like, what is it? I've never used it.
Oh no, you have to pay for it.
That's why I never used it.
Yeah.
All right. We got any seggies?
63-62, Vanderbilt up with
Oh,
7
no.
minutes to go in the fourth quarter. They currently are on defense.
Oh no.
LSU probing.
Oh no.
Probing. Flage on the wing.
Flage's been balling.
She has swing. Oh, knocked out of bounds. LSU retains possession. 6:53 left.
This is gonna go to my curtain call, so I'm not gonna bring it up until I get to the curtain call. But mistake of the day brought to you by Mik'd Up.
Yes. Curtain call too, and I want your opinion on who you think did this. Obviously, Sydney Thomas, very viral for her appearance on the Mike Tyson fight. If you don't know who that is, you live under a rock.
Yep.
But she has now gone viral. Student at Alabama.
She just took a picture with Nick Saban today.
She did. And that goes into maybe who the culprit is. During a recent appearance on the Like a
Maybe.
Farmer podcast, which, I mean,
I can't make fun because we
we have to be more popular than that.
I
Have
don't
to
think
do
so.
some
Sydney
serious-
Thomas is on that. No
Yeah,
way.
It's probably an Alabama-based podcast. Whatever. The 21-year-old model and University of Alabama student who became an overnight sensation during the Paul Tyson rumble that was stuttering revealed the coach's message and that he is an Alabama fan. It was from another SEC football team coach, and they just DM'd me, roll tide, said Thomas, who was asked about the craziest DM you've ever gotten. It's got to be, Popular consensus is Lane.
What?
Popular consensus is Lane Kiffin.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, I don't think that there's. You think there's another SEC coach with enough gumption to
or enough Twitter presence?
Yeah, to know. What if it was an intern that was running the Twitter?
Well, I was thinking, my brain was cooking this, and I was thinking young enough to be around. Billy Napier came to mind of somebody that would be in that sphere. But
Billy married?
I don't know.
I think he is.
Doesn't matter.
I know, but I'm just.
Yeah, I'm just thinking.
Lane is the easy layup because he's single.
So I didn't want to go.
And
I didn't want to go with the easy one. I would be hard pressed to think.
Sarkisian?
Sam Pittman. Yeah, Sarkisian would be an easy.
Sarkisian had him and his wife were on the rocks for a minute. They got filed for divorce.
I think
they're back together. His ring was back on the finger for the playoff game. Brian Kelly maybe
would love for that to be the case.
BK slides in there.
He's been in the portal.
Would that give you more respect for him if you did that?
It would.
That he had enough balls to do that?
Yes. Other than that, I'm trying to think of around the SEC, and there's not a lot of coaches that come to mind.
Venables? No. Doesn't seem like he would do that.
No, he's got a Hugh Freeze for sure.
Hugh Freeze, no doubt, would do it.
Yeah, he's been. This is actually legal.
Who else? Any other? Beamer not doing it. No way.
Probably Mary Beamer ball.
Beamer doesn't seem like he's
ball
got
up top.
Yeah, I don't think Beamer's doing it. Maybe she got confused in sports. Maybe it was Vitello.
Could see that for
and she thought maybe, Tennessee, maybe this is Heupel.
Not Heupel.
Not Heupel. Not Heupel.
Maybe Heisman winning. Heisman runner-up Heupel.
Maybe. So what's the mistake of the day? The coach that...
Yeah, whoever. I mean, we're just putting the conjecture out there. And I feel bad for Lane because what if it wasn't him? Everybody's just running
Nobody knows now, though.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, you're the only one. No, maybe not. Maybe not the only one, but you're definitely one of the ones that's trying to throw it on him.
No, a lot of people are trying to throw it on him, for sure.
I just said he was the popular.
That's why I said not the only one, but you are definitely one of the ones trying to throw it on him right now.
Giving him credit.
Yep, tough one.
But if it's somebody that is in a
ain't no privacy anymore.
Relationship,
things are coming out.
That would be
always.
the mistake of the day if it comes out as to who it is.
Things are coming out always. There's no hey, I'm just gonna keep this a secret type deal. There's evidence.
Yeah,
right? Ain't no hiding it.
No CCTV everywhere.
Yeah, not good. All right, curtain call brought to you by our friends at Perkins and McKenzie.
My curtain call. I don't know if you've seen this or not, but Bills Mafia was out in full force. And this guy had a bet with Nate Burleson that allowed him to get Nate's jacket that he wore on good whatever show he does. But if the Bills win against the Chiefs, Bills fan Justin Stefone gets to keep Burleson's jacket. And Burleson, being a man of his word, mailed it to him in time for the playoff game. And not to disappoint, this man wore it to the playoff game, and it does not fit, but it looks awesome.
Wow.
Top hat and Nate Burleson's coat.
What is that? What is that necklace?
I don't know. That's a buffalo wing.
That's what it looks like. Is it really a buffalo wing?
Fat bastard from Austin Powers right there.
He does look like fat with the top hat with the feather in it. Is that really a buffalo wing?
Hell yeah!
From a necklace.
That is awesome.
That's amazing.
That's crazy.
That's amazing. Good for that guy. And
front row, twisted tee.
Yeah, look the belly getting scrunched up against the pad.
In my belly.
Wow,
that's unbelievable.
He looked greasy.
Oh my god.
Wow, that's tough.
Chicken wing around your neck.
Tough.
Good God.
All right, Jay, you got one?
Yeah, I got one, man. I kind of like this in a time. See, look, first off, we can already know this. Lloyd would have no shot at playing on this squad right here. But in a time where seemingly these college kids, although it's great, everything that they're able to get and everything that they're able to do, we've heard multiple people kind of complaining about how there's no accountability, if you will. And Dion has found a way to infuse some accountability into his program. No slides, no tank tops, sit in the front of the classroom. Seniors, if you stop going to class or get Fs or Ds, the staff will take away part of your check. So basically, if you don't do your job on the front end of it, guess what? is coming out of your paycheck. You're getting fined as if you in the NFL now. So there is some accountability that Deion is finding a way to infuse it into his program. And I think it's awesome because the one thing that I've always had a problem with what's going on right now with the portal and everything is, look, man, I think it's great. I really love that these kids can go out there and make their money and do all this stuff. But the simple fact that there's zero accountability and they can move and they can do whatever and there's nobody that can check them, it's crazy to me. Yeah. And he's found a way, kind of really, I don't know who else has stuff like this going on. I don't know how long he's been doing this or if he's literally just introducing this now. But the fact that he's putting it in and he's putting it out there for people to understand it, hey, you come here, you got a chance to win, you got a chance to make some money, you got a chance to go somewhere, but damn it, you ain't just going to do it for free, basically. You ain't going to run and do whatever you want to do. You're going to play by the rules and you're going to play by the book. So I salute him for being able to do that and finding a way to put some accountability into his program. And maybe that's something that all these coaches will start doing as well.
Modern day Coach Carter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
lock the gym.
Yeah. Front of the class, got to pass your class, got to pass your grade, or we're not playing, right? Obviously, that was high school. Lock the gym. This is, hey, you ain't going to get paid. And I'm preparing you for the NFL because when you get to the NFL, it ain't working like this. It ain't happened. Like, you may be making more money now.
When you get to life, it ain't working like this.
No doubt.
It ain't even just you can't do that, some of this stuff. Yeah.
No doubt. So, yeah, kudos to that. That's a great one. All right. My curtain call. Not that long ago, LeVar Ball and the Ball brothers were in the media for a lot of nonsense, right? A lot of that revolved around LeVar. Right, you had Big Baller Brand. Those shoes obviously flopped. Didn't work. You had all these other things. LeVar was coming out there. Well, he's kind of quieted himself. His two youngest sons, LaMelo and Lonzo, both are good basketball players. I believe Lonzo has been hurt for 2 or 3 years, and I think he's finally making his comeback. The oldest son, LiAngelo Ball, was the least talented of the three. Tried to play in the NBA, tried to play in the G League, played overseas for a little bit. But LiAngelo Ball may be the most talented one out of the group in a whole different realm. LiAngelo Ball signed a record deal with, who is it?
Universal Music Group.
Def Jam and Universal Music Group. His label, Born to Ball Music Group, tells Shams Charania. So, signs a $13 million record deal, $8 million guaranteed, right? Gets to own his own music. Apparently, I haven't listened to a song. Jay, have you listened to it?
I mean, Jesus Christ, Mikey, what are you doing? Everybody's playing this damn song.
I know, I haven't listened to it yet.
It sounds like
I haven't listened to it yet. Is it good?
It's good. It sounds like the Hot Boys.
I feel like it was made in New Orleans in 1998.
Damn,
like
I'm listening on the way home. I mean, everybody in the NFL, everybody's listening to it. I'm gonna have to listen to it, but it's obviously he's been balling. He's been killing it, and shout out to him, dude.
Shout out to Trump. He traded for him. Remember, he got arrested for stealing in China.
That's right.
He tried to steal those knockoff sunglasses, and he went to prison whenever he was on UCLA's basketball team.
That's right.
That ended his career. Trump makes a trade, gets a banger out the deal.
No doubt. No doubt.
Art of the deal.
That's art of the deal. Art of the deal. Shout out to him, dude. He kind of got overlooked by his brothers, and now he's making his own way. So thought that was pretty cool. That's all I got.
Rumors are one of the brothers wrote it, but
is it?
Yep.
Yeah, but you gotta perform it. You can always have writers, you just gotta be able to perform it.
It's a banger.
You know. All right, that's all we got for you tonight on this beautiful Monday. It's 10-0 Rams over the Vikings right now with 53 seconds to go in the first quarter. We appreciate you tuning in. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel if you don't like watching us, but you like listening to us, or anywhere you get your pods. We'll be back live. Don't know yet, because we're having a debate whether or not we're going to have the Wednesday show and the special edition show on Thursday, or just move the Wednesday show, quote unquote, to Thursday, and then have our regular scheduled show on Friday.
Tuned.
Stay tuned. We'll let you know. We'll be back live either in studio on Wednesday and at the First Pitch Banquet on Thursday, or live just from Thursday at the First Pitch Banquet. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. We'll see you when we see you.
LSU up 77-72 with a minute 39 left.
There we go. There we go, man. Now you got to close it out.
Close it out.
That's what they've been doing lately, though, closing the deal. All right. Enjoy your Monday.